Well, welcome back, folks. I'm Nikki Godwin.
And I'm Ty Godwin.
And welcome
to the Butterfly Pavilion Podcast.
Episode 4, right?
Season 1, Episode 4.
Season 1, Episode 4. I feel like I'm
by
really
the
proud.
5th one, we might be able to get that whole jargon down of season and episode.
Yeah, maybe our audience is tiring of that a bit.
Yeah, we beat that dead horse.
We have lots of good stuff going on today, but Dad, do you want to jump in?
Well, I think we were going to start with some fan feedback.
Yes, we have received a ton of amazing feedback thus far on a lot of platforms. On YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, personal outreach from old friends. LinkedIn, people in the community.
From my previous life.
Yes, so we wanted to shout those out.
Yeah, so I did want to read a few of these because, we started this as just conversations we're going to record for you. And it evolved into, well, if we're going to do that, why don't we do a podcast? And we didn't know how it might touch people or affect people. And I've been pleasantly surprised with some of the feedback we've got. Rob wrote to me, "Hey Ty, just listened to your podcast for the first time. You have an incredibly mature and articulate daughter. The strength you show in talking about living with cancer is inspiring. I don't monitor social media, but felt drawn to listen to your podcast. Please know your voice is impactful."
Oh.
And that was from an old colleague named Rob.
It's so
and
sweet.
Then, yeah.
I was like, me? Intelligent?
Yes. No, I've gotten a lot of daughter. I don't want to float your ego, balloon your ego too much, but
I know.
There's been a ton of positive Nikki feedback.
We love affirmation. Thank you.
We all love affirmation.
We all love affirmation.
And Kevin Kramer, good buddy of mine, he reposted on LinkedIn, and he, which is largely all business content,
Right.
And it's probably 2% personal.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting when people
post something personal.
Really personal things on LinkedIn.
Or even a personal thing. Like, I did a bike ride, to raise money or something. Yeah. It is typically very weird. So, but I am weird. But he was very touched. He said, reposted it and said, "Make memories, not just money. Who we leave behind, our kids especially, will speak louder than any of our individual achievements or accolades. This is a real legacy, Ty, in our prayers, sir." And that was from Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I could never be as smart as you. He's a real smart dude. And then I won't list this gentleman's name, but it was an old CEO, not old in age, but I guess I'm old, so that might make him old. But probably one of the 2 or 3 most respected CEOs that I ever worked with. And I would run into him. I only worked with him once, but we both had a great relationship based on that time together. We had great wins. And he reached out to me on email. He said he saw my LinkedIn post. "So sorry that you're navigating stage 4 cancer. Wanted to wish you well and pray for your quick recovery. Your daughter's idea and connection are so special." I haven't shared this, but with you, and in case it helps, the old saying that misery loves company. A few months ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3 multiple melanoma and a right lung mass. Came out of the blue, was quite surprising. Multiple melanoma has few treatment options. He's been embarking on that. But I maintain optimism that we'll do as well as we can with treatments, given that both are incurable, which is really tough words to read. Then I exchanged notes and praise. "Thank you for reaching out." And he replied, "It's just the luck of the draw. I try to remain optimistic. You definitely have the right attitude. It will keep you strong through this. Thanks for sharing." That was powerful. It was somebody that, through business, we just had a lot of mutual respect for each other. I would run into him at, I was in the telecom industry, and there's a big show every year in Barcelona, Mobile World Congress for the mobility space. And I was fortunate. A horrible place to go, by the way, for a conference, Barcelona.
Horrible place.
Horrible. Food's crap. Don't go there.
Don't go there. Don't travel there.
But anyway, I I've been overwhelmed by the feedback that we've got. So keep those comments coming. I'm glad that we're able to entertain, update those family members or people that want to follow my journey on the cancer journey. I think we're going to change it up this week and maybe do the cancer update at the end. And then I just had one other. Any feedback on the letters, Nikki? Or
No, I just have been overwhelmed with joy with the amount of positive feedback that we've been getting, and I think we're also providing a sense of hope for people who may need it, which is just a secondary objective that fills my soul. The first, like you mentioned, is us doing this fun project together, spending all this time and recording these videos so we have them, but the fact that we are able to provide hope.
It's a bonus. We didn't expect to reach people.
Yeah, this is a total bonus. Way. And I just, while you were reading that, there was this specific piece of feedback that came to mind, so I was digging in my Instagram DMs, but someone who shall remain anonymous just listened to episode 1 while getting my morning started. This is amazing, awesome, and very heartwarming. I'm unfortunately dealing with a hard time in my relationship with my mom and dad and brother. I'm in a family business, and it's really hard, and I've been taking some time away from them, knowing that, it could be someone's last day or someone's last moment, and not being able to spend time with them really hurts me. I'm trying to get over this hump, and listening to your podcast really helped me and is helping me push through this. Good job, Nikki.
Wow.
So it's, again, this is just overwhelming in a really positive way, and we're just happy that...
We're starting out with some really heavy stuff, aren't we?
I don't think it's not as heavy as some of the other stuff we've started out with.
We are talking about cancer, and that's heavy, and
yes.
the colleague, CEO colleague that is also dealing with cancer, that's heavy, but... No, I'm thrilled with that feedback.
Yeah, well, I wanted to mention, and probably something I'm going to touch on throughout today's episode, but life is not always sunshine and rainbows.
Absolutely.
Everyone is experiencing their own struggles in their life, and that's not always shown on social media. Social is always the highlights, the fun stuff, what's going on, and so I think it's good to talk about this.
I think you need to go to Facebook to get all the misery.
Hey, I stay off of Facebook when I can.
I won't mention names, but there are some people that it feels like get a therapist. I don't know.
Well, anywho.
Yeah, we won't go there, but I went there.
I wanted to introduce...
Oh, not quite yet.
Oh, are you calling me out for not following the outline?
Because you called me out for not following the outline last week.
Okay, all right, sorry, Dad.
I had one last thing as part of the... Not fan mail, but a production correction.
That's right.
I sometimes use the wrong words, and it's not so much an age thing. I have started to reach out to some people in the long COVID community, and we will do that episode. I'd like to land a whale to get for one of those episodes, but I think I've got a couple lined up where we can go in depth. Because it is still a big part of my life and was a precursor and a compounding factor to my cancer diagnosis. But anyway, in the last episode, I used the wrong word, and we were talking about stereotypes, and I said, there's the woman wearing the turban, and we just glossed right over it. And I'm like, turban? What? Turban is like something you'd see in the Indiana Jones movie, or maybe Mrs. Roper with her Kaftan dress. So sorry for the insensitivity, largely the women, although Jamie Raskin in Congress, he went through cancer. He had more of a... who's the guy in Springsteen that wears his scarf? It'll come to me.
I don't know. Do not know why you're asking me, but Springsteen... About Springsteen.
You do know of this person called Bruce Springsteen.
Correct, but that's the end of my knowledge is his name.
Okay. He's an actor.
Well, don't derail us.
He was in The Sopranos.
Really?
Yes.
I'm looking this up. Continue. This is weird.
Anyway, when he performed, he would wear a headscarf. So I think the term, there was a long way for me to re-explain myself.
Yeah,
I think women when they lose their hair when going through chemo would wear a headscarf. I should have the researcher from the kitchen shout out this actor and musician's name. But I want to end with, we seem to have no shortage of marketing taglines. We talk a lot about finding light in darkness.
Yes. That is our official tagline.
Yes. And we've shelved the not quite an hour of Ginger Power. But on our YouTube channel, we did fully launch as part of the episode 3 Purple Delight, our YouTube channel. So if you want to see us in the goofiness of Ty, the moments of goofiness, I should say. But anyway, the intro to Purple Delight, your Uncle Tim, my brother, is a musician. He did some amazing intro music in an end jingle that we use also for the intro and closing of Spotify. So thanks to Uncle Tim.
Yes,
props
thanks,
Uncle Tim. But I put a quote from Nightbirde. Nightbirde, I don't know how many people I've told about this young woman who was on America's Got Talent, which is my guilty pleasure. I love that show. I love the human stories that become a success on stage. And Nightbirde was one of those. And she came out on stage, they knew nothing about her, and she explains that she hadn't been working for a year because she has cancer. And the tone got very serious. And not in the performance, but the interview before her performance and her performance blew the judges away. I think she would have won the season, but she had to bow out because of her health, and she ultimately succumbed to cancer. But she had a quote backstage that really hit home, and I think it's part of that light and darkness. And she said, "You can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy." And you can't force yourself to be happy, but you can wallow in misery, and it is a balancing act and a tightrope act with cancer to manage your emotions. And I think we'll probably get into that when you talk about therapy. But anyway, very inspired by Nightbirde. Google it if you haven't watched that particular episode. It's got a cajillion views on YouTube.
We could probably share a story and link it. We'll link it.
We'll link it, and we'll drop a link to it in this episode.
Yes.
Because it's just powerful stuff. But anyway, in the intro of the Purple Delight episode, I put her quote in there just because I thought it was so cool. But anyway, I go back to you and back to the outline.
That's okay, Dad. I actually messed that one up, so that's on me. But we've been talking and joking about a cry jar, and I'm gonna give some ASMR sound. Wait, that's like too loud, Dad.
Oh, that's too loud? Okay.
But like some little ASMR sounds.
Well, you need to tell people what ASMR is, because I just learned of this recently.
I actually don't know.
You don't need to tell people what the acronyms. Tell people what it is.
Well, there's people online who make ASMR videos. I personally...
There's a woman who's got like a cajillion views and quit her day job.
Yes.
On YouTube.
I follow this woman who makes custom soaps, and then she crunches them over like
a microphone.
It's a video, but it's a microphone, and it is the most satisfying thing. Calming, satisfying thing ever. But a lot of people, like for skincare, if they're doing their get ready with me videos, they'll do this, that sound, nails against the glass, or products.
Violent shaking of the coin jar is probably not ASMR.
No, yeah.
Gentle swirling is probably okay.
But I do love ASMR, but total segue again, rabbit hole again. But we wanted to introduce our cry jar.
Should it ever happen? I
don't know if it will. We'll see. I think you and I have talked about how when we're doing this podcast, we have of course, naturally, our business brain and mindset comes to the forefront of when we're talking to one another. So even when we're talking about really hard subjects, even after last episode, like I got super emotional, but after we filmed it. But in the case that we do cry during the episode, we got to
contribute to the cry jar.
Well, and it actually should be empty if we're...
Well, I put the coins in there for ASMR audio effect.
Sure.
for the
we'll leave
podcast
the jar
listeners.
empty for now, and then if we end up shedding some tears, we'll drop some coins in there.
Before you move on, it did remind me of a story, and we've talked about this, that we have great content ideas that come to us in the middle of the night. So I'll roll over in bed at 2 a.m, or I'm up and I'll jot on a notepad, some ideas. But we were talking about how we just get in this business zone almost, and it reminded me of a story back when I worked at 3Com, which is a cajillion years ago. But they were a behemoth in the networking industry. And the marketing guy was a buddy of mine, and he called me up and he's like, hey, this company wants to do a TV segment on home networking, and I can't fly out. I can't justify flying out. Would you do it for me? And I'm like, oh, sure. And I go to the studio that was out by Stapleton, the old airport. And I go in the studio, and it's a studio. It's built up with a desk and got this home environment. And I sit down with this very professional and intimidating woman interviewer, and almost like Will Ferrell in Old School when he did the debate team. You'd have to. We'll link to that too because it's absolutely hilarious. But I went into this mode, and I thought I absolutely bombed. And I'm like,
you blacked out.
I thought, oh my God, I embarrassed the company. It was horrible. And got home, watch it with your mom, and she kind of had this head jerk, and she's like, who was that? Because
was it you?
And I looked at myself, and I'm like, wow, I actually did pretty good. And it's funny because they were starving for content. It was like on a PBS channel, but they must have aired that thing 200 times. So I'd have people call me left and right over 2 years and say, hey, I just saw you on TV. That's a long story to say, we almost go into a clinical mode in the middle of a podcast, even though we talk about deep topics at times because cancer is deep. It hasn't really gone to, we don't have the emotions that we'd have, on the sofa without the microphone and the camera.
The cameras, yeah, absolutely. Also, thank you for sharing that story. You definitely told me that before, because an advice that you always give me, and if it's in an interview setting or a presentation at work, you always say, well, you probably did a lot better than you think you did. And that comes from
we all do.
that story that you shared. So
I have it somewhere on VHS.
You need to find it because I don't think I've seen it.
It is hilarious. Of course, I probably have just giant hair, giant glasses.
Well, when was it? 1985?
It wasn't in the 80s. It was probably early 90s.
Oh, nice. I would love to see that. Yeah. We have to find it.
Yeah, but it is funny because I completely thought I bombed, and I'm like, wow. But that's kind of where we've gone, and no, we haven't cried yet, but should that occur, kind of like a cuss jar, we have to contribute to the cry jar.
Contribute to the cry jar. Well, it is there if that does happen. And I don't know, tears might come out today. I don't know. We'll see. But I did want to just touch on something that I chatted about with my therapist that I thought was super interesting. And before I get into the meat and potatoes of that therapy session, I did just want to let people know, our listeners, that therapy is for everyone. Therapy works. You go to the doctor for your physical health, and exercising and taking care of your mental health is equally as important. And so did just want to say that if you are struggling, it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to reach out to someone. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, the gym and yoga and Pilates can help with your body and some of your mental health, but it doesn't complete the therapy component of actually talking to someone.
Yeah, well, and I also think it's nice to talk to, one, a professional, but two, someone who has no personal stake in your life whatsoever. Of course, you can always lean on your parents, your friends, and etc. But I think actually being able to talk to someone who doesn't know anyone in your life, they just know you, and their whole entire goal and objective is to help you as an individual, is pretty cool. So actually get my therapy provided through this platform called Sondermind. I believe they're actually founded in Colorado, but it's all virtual. So it's super convenient, accessible for myself personally. I've been going to therapy on and off for about, I think, 10 years. But most recently I do go about once a month. But I think something that came up during that session is the topic of going out into a large social situation for me can be really difficult at times, because the small talk is always, what's new with you? What's going on in your life? And I think that's a really hard question for me to address sometimes, because I'm such a very like deep and open person, but I don't want to like open up with, well, my dad has cancer, and like.
So do you have building anxiety before you go to those settings?
A little bit,
I can relate. I know my wife can. I know she recently didn't go to an event because she didn't want to face all the questions, and that's fair.
Yeah. Well,
some days you're not in the mood to, because honestly, she gets more questions than I do, because I'm like this, fragile piece of crystal on the shelf that they don't want to break, so they go to her and they ask her all the questions.
So she gets the brunt of
brunt.
All that. Yeah, I feel similarly in that I think people who know anyways are like walking around eggshells with me a little bit, but they also don't know what to say. They ask, how's your family doing? How's your dad doing? But it's, again, when you're in a small talk situation, like what's happening and what we're experiencing in our life is a very deep and sad thing. And so it's like, how do you like have that small talk or whatever?
So what advice did he give you?
Well, first, my therapist is a woman. So we'll start there.
What advice did them give you?
Well, essentially, she was explaining, that everyone
Can I pause you just for a second? For the video listening audience, I woke up with a sore pelvis, which is part of where the prostate cancer is spread to bone, and I'm getting cozy on the sofa. And I was like in an awkward position. So anyway, oversharing.
No, well.
But they're probably like, what is he doing? And I'm like, I'm trying to get comfortable.
Get cozy. That's important. Well, it wasn't like a flat out piece of advice right away, but she essentially was like, well, would you rather have people not ask you at all on the alternative? And I was like, well, not really, but I personally prefer quality time with my friends, like going out to coffee, going for a walk, like really like that one-on-one connection versus like very surface level things. But then also just, kind of rehearsing what you're gonna say ahead of time can also be helpful, just so you're kind of prepared and like going into an event just telling your nervous system and your body, like, hey, you might be getting these types of questions, like, it's okay. And also, those people who are asking, they're just trying to be nice. They're just trying to show support.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week mainly from my perspective of how to have that awkward cancer conversation, and the preface was 100%, 99.9%, that people are well-intentioned, and but some people are on the continuum of kind of awkward and don't know what to say.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then we kind of, in my therapy session, got into some nitty-gritty about it with, well, my therapist was asking, well, what do you say, and are you like putting on this like strong front? And I was like, well, of course I am. Like, that's just in my nature as a human being. I always present myself like I have it together. I'm a strong person. This isn't affecting me at all. And I think that's also kind of common in our society.
That's more in a small group to large group setting, right? But I'm sure you show more vulnerability with your good friends in a phone conversation, as an example.
Well, you would think so. But I think lately, and like with my close friends, yes, but like I haven't been like allowing myself to feel sadness. I've been, if you think about the movie Inside Out, you've seen that movie, right? Mm-hmm. Where, you have the emotions in your head. It's like sadness has just been like put in a broom closet and like she's not allowed to come out.
Right.
But that's not really healthy either. You need to allow yourself to feel these emotions and instead of at a party, if someone's like, how's it going? And if you're feeling sad, like, it's okay to say that. And allow yourself to, again, feel the emotions that you're feeling. And, like, it's really interesting that earlier you talked about happiness and the state of being happy. And it's like, well, no one is ever 120% happy. Like, your emotions in your body...
You can't pretend or make yourself happy. You can do things to create happiness and...
Right, but it's like
raw emotions.
Sadness
if you're
and
sad, you're
happiness.
sad.
No, but sad and happiness coexist at the same time. And that's what my therapist has been teaching me. Like, you can be sad, but you can also be happy. It doesn't have to be one over the other.
Right.
But I think for me, like, something that I'm working on is kind of working through my oldest daughter syndrome. Have you heard of this term before?
I know those words in sequence. I'm not sure I know what. Is this the, you assume a role of a third parent?
Kind of. I have a definition here because I didn't want to get it wrong. Well, also, who knows? This is from Google AI Overview, so let's see how credible this is. But
Grok is never wrong.
Eldest daughter syndrome refers to the unique pressures and responsibilities often placed on the oldest daughter in the family, leading to feelings of anxiety, perfectionism, and emotional exhaustion. It's not an official diagnosis, but a popular term describing a common experience among firstborn daughters. These daughters often take on a caretaking role, act as role models, and feel a heightened sense of responsibility for their siblings and family.
I could see that with you. I could see it with a couple of your oldest cousins.
Yes. And
that's not a bad thing.
Well,
necessarily,
it can be from the sense of if you don't have boundaries for yourself, it can be a little bit exhausting. But I've actually talked about this with my friends because several of us are the eldest daughters, and we often feel like it's our responsibility to step up. It's our responsibility to be the strongest.
Does that mean you're bossy too?
I don't know. I mean, Colin probably begged to differ on that one, but not necessarily bossy.
Well, we don't need to dive on that one.
No, but I can be bossy for sure. But my point being, and like with all of like this, my therapy session and people even asking me like, well, I just want to make sure you're happy, and then me battling internally with the eldest daughter syndrome, that I'm feeling. I don't have to be strong all the time. I'm allowed to feel my emotions, and I need to create space that allows me to feel those emotions. If I'm not having a good day, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to reschedule a dinner. Now, on the other hand, I obviously want to live my life, but I think I have a lot of very strong polarizing emotions that people my age aren't feeling because they're not in this position. But right. At the end of, the day, that was really it. Just recognizing myself and my emotions, and, it's okay.
Well, it sounds like a great therapist.
Yeah, she's great. Her name's Michaela. I love her.
Thank you, Michaela.
Yes. So just wanted to share, and yeah, therapy is great. Yeah,
I have a therapist. We've touched on that. I use a bit of an auto mechanic approach. Some of it's maintenance. Some of it is calling when there's an event or heightened anxiety. But I'm a big believer in therapy, and everything you said makes sense. It is a delicate balance because I've got some people very close to me that have never asked me how I'm doing or any questions about treatment or cancer, and I find that very weird. But my wife centers me, and I think the other thing is you can't be disappointed when you expect certain reactions that don't happen, because you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, right?
You can't control other people's reactions or what they do or etc., which is really hard to wrap your mind around sometimes, especially for me, who's like a super controlling person, I would say sometimes.
Right.
But the power of asking, hey, how are you doing, is very, very powerful, because anyone who is struggling, like just talking about it or just knowing that that person cares, it can go a long way.
Right. So it did make me think of a social situation in that I had my 45-year high school reunion a couple of weeks ago. And first off, let me point out, this summer, as we talked about in Purple Delight episode, has been a ton of bed and sofa time, but I try and find when I have microbursts of not feeling as bad as I normally do, because I never am like symptom free. There are no good days. There are days that are better than others. This happened to be on a day when I felt like crap, but I knew there was people that I honestly may never see again. And there was a classmate that moved back to Denver that's been all over Facebook and getting, wanting me to show up. And Clayton is a friend that in grade school I found the stickers in the garage. Older brother Tommy had these STP stickers, which was a type of oil, and he stickered an entire car, which
No.
I'm surprised that your stepdad or grandpa,
Step-grandfather?
my stepdad, your grandpa Bob, would have allowed that. But I found all these stickers in the trash, and being the young entrepreneur that I was, I took them to school, and Clayton and I sold them. We made like $40 on it. So we laughed about that story. But I felt like shit. I didn't want to go, but one of my best friends from high school, who lives up in Fort Collins, offered to drive down and take me. And there were benches under a cabana, so I could sit there as easily as sitting at home. But I felt it was an opportunity that I knew I would pay for it, but I'm glad I went. I had an hour and a half of talking to old classmates. A couple of them were in my fraternity in college. So it was, retelling old stories. And the girl I took to continuation in 9th grade, and somebody says, "What's continuation?" Well, it's when you continue from, at that time, junior high was through grade 9.
Oh, so to high school.
Continuation to high school.
That wasn't an awkward age period.
Oh my God. She runs up to me, and I sure wish that we were as comfortable at the reunion that we were on that night. I was terrified of that evening. And we joked about that. And the humiliating part is I think my mom was bridge partners with her mom. She may have actually brokered the date, because I was terrified of girls, and I think this may have been an arranged. So, but anyway, it was an absolute delight. She'd moved to New Hampshire. I haven't seen her in 40 years.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
But so that's finding light in darkness. But I did pay for it, because I crashed hard on Sunday, and I spent 4 days in bed.
I know.
It just absolutely killed me. So,
well, and I did want to recognize, I'm proud of you for pushing yourself in situations like that. You weren't having a good day, but going to the reunion, once you got there, I know you had fun, and it sucks that you had to pay for that, because your energy is being exhausted at an event like that. But I'm glad that you went and were able to see those people. I guess part of the reason for bringing that up is you talked about the anxiety and how you manage a large social situation. And honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought, because I joked with Dave on the way down, how many times are we going to get the cancer conversation? And because I was more prepared, perhaps, it wasn't so awkward, and a lot of people were just obviously genuinely interested. Some had listened to the podcast, commented on the podcast, or I promoted the podcast. I'm like, hey, if you want to keep in touch with my, cancer journey, go to Butterfly Pavilion Podcast. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and we have also talked about a little bit how it's kind of fun and interesting to go into a social situation where you don't know anyone, because it's almost like, wow, I can talk about anything I want. I'm not going to get any awkward questions about cancer, or so it's kind of fun. Now, granted, I'm not one to these days go out to all of these parties with people I don't know. That's just not really my lifestyle. But even just spreading kindness I went to go pick up a gift for my stepdad this morning at this little gift shop around here, Datura Home. And I was talking to the woman in there this morning who was opening up shop, and
well, it's a great little gift shop.
it's a great little gift shop, but also just striking up random conversations with strangers and just spreading kindness.
Investors could be you. They could be a sponsor, right? To add to our,
Hey, we'll tag them.
And now a word from our sponsor, silence.
Enter in plug for...
Could be you.
Could be you. Anyways, but...
You're buying a gift.
I was buying that gift. It's just nice to talk to people that you don't know sometimes and just adding some kindness to their day. And I just had a really nice small interaction this morning. So
for me, it's very rare because we don't get out a lot. Because it's kind of been a sedentary summer. Well, I've had a sedentary 5 years.
What's a sedentary?
Sedentary is you're not active.
I thought you said sed and
territory. No, sedentary. SEDINTARY.
Okay, learn something new every day.
Anyway, I had one, and of course I'm also, Franzi cracks up because I'm like that progressive dad, you're becoming your parent in the Progressive commercial, because I meet someone and I want to have a full-on conversation because I've been locked up in the home and I'm craving, adult conversation. But one such conversation, they're like, so what do you do for a living? I'm retired, because I didn't, it's strange. I don't want to...
hate that question.
Yeah. But it's kind of my canned standard answer. And they go, oh, that's nice. Inside my head, I'm like, not really. And I kind of leave it at that. But
well, that's a good answer for a situation like that.
But then they, if they dive into one or two more questions, and cancer inevitably comes up.
Maybe next time you could just plug in I'm a professional clown full time, or just a complete joke.
What are you saying about me? You're saying I'm a clown? That was the first thing that came to her mind.
I don't know, something funny.
Anyway, bottom line, therapy good, right?
Yes, bottom line, the therapy good. Feeling your emotions is good. Allowing yourself to feel things is good, even though they're hard sometimes. But that's okay. Hard times equals growth.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Okay, segue.
Chapter 3.
I wanted to ask, just to hear some of your favorite memories of me as your daughter. Not to be self-centered, but I'm genuinely curious of the, 30 years that I've been alive. What are some of the favorite memories you have of me in different time periods?
What's a challenge, because we're supposed to keep these under an hour, right?
I know.
Not quite an hour, ginger power?
I know. What's our timestamp right now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't care. You did give me a heads up on this, because I could have had, not that I don't have a voluminous cacophony. God, I'm throwing out big words today.
Yeah, another word I have no idea of the definition.
Memories. But I did put some thought into that. So it's hard to break down the timeline from baby to toddler to teen to young adult, but I had a few.
Okay. I'm excited.
As a baby, and this was largely influenced by your mom, you were always in a dress.
Checks out.
You were girly girl. And I remember just vividly when we were living on Blue Sage, you were in a dress, and we happened to be on the front porch, and you put your hand down on the porch, the wooden porch, and it happened to be dusty, and you turned your hand around and had this ew look on your face, but it was such a Nikki thing, and it typified you at that age, because you were just, oh my God, I got dirt on my hands, and why is this porch so dirty? But the expression on your face was just hilarious.
And how old was I?
Oh, you were tiny then. I mean, you were 3 or 4.
Yeah, I would say that to this day that's still pretty accurate. I'm very much a girly girl.
You can swing. Today you look a little tomboyish.
Well, I'm trying to be casual.
You're casual,
it would be weird if I showed up in a dress. You've
got jean shorts and your psychedelic concert T-shirt.
Indeed.
But you did
Electric Forest.
Electric Forest. the other one, slightly older, same home. You're gonna have to look at Benny Hill. When one of the shows that my stepdad used to love to watch was Benny Hill, which was quite often very inappropriate, which is part of why I like to watch it, because there was some risque, girls in bikinis or whatever. But he had this little sidekick who happened to be bald, and he was always slapping him on the head, if a fly would land on his head, he would, swat this little guy's head. And why I'm bringing up Benny Hill is I was mowing a lawn, and you happened to be coming up the side of the house as I was bringing the lawnmower up the side of the house, and I saw a wasp, I called it a hornet, going into the railroad ties. And like an idiot, like Benny Hill slapping the fly on this little bald guy's head, I stomped on the wasp, and 40 of them flew out. They didn't attack me. You were in a t-shirt dress. They attacked you. So there was mayhem. Your mom was in the garage. I was in the garage. We're trying to get make sure these, because I think they'd flown up your dress.
They did.
And, I'm trying to rectify. Of course, I'm feeling like an idiot, that I slapped Benny Hill's sidekick's head. But what kind of idiot swats a hornet nest or a wasp nest?
Well, I'm sure you haven't made that same mistake twice.
And you said, and you were half crying, you said, "Don't step on the horns, Daddy." So that was just a very cute memory.
Yeah. Cute me getting attacked by 50 hornets, wasps.
Your little statement of don't stump on the horns, Daddy, was cute.
I'm actually surprised I don't have more fear of them.
Like you do of birds, like we talked in Purple Delight.
Yeah, I can handle the hornets for some reason.
You handle it.
Well, I'm here still. So if you get attacked by 40 hornets, just know it's going to be okay.
Are they hornets or wasps? I think they're wasps.
I think I'm just ingrained to say hornets based on
Is that like alligator crocodile?
Sure.
They're similar. So toddler to young girl, I don't know. I had a couple written down. One was when we were living at the apartment, or Dad was living at the apartment. You'd come over for the weekends. I told this at your 30th birthday party, but I think it's poignant and it just says a lot about who you are as a person. And we'd gone to the grocery store, and I see a tree that its bark had been stripped off, and I get upset, and I'm like, "Gosh, who did that? That's the tree's skin. Without the skin, that tree will die." I left it at that, and I'm halfway in the door and with your brother, and I'm like, "Where's Nikki?" And you're over there hugging the tree. And there's, of course, all kinds of metaphors, but I think what it said about you at the time, and I think this is still true today, is that you're such a caring person. 99% of that is amazing. The downside of that is you're a caring person, so
double-edged sword. So you'll have nights when Dad's having a bad day, and I'm sure you hang up the phone and you're sad, you cry, all those emotions because you care. So I think the tree hugging story is one of my favorites. Disney Cruise is the second one. Disney Cruise.
I was Disney dad, meaning that nothing against my dad, but I wanted to learn from being a divorced kid, where we went over to my dad's and it was 5 hours. We had no connection really. My dad and stepmom loved me, and there were definitely great times, great memories, but it didn't feel like my home. So you had your bedrooms, you had duplicates of everything, you had clothes, etc. And I tried to be Disneyland dad, in that I wanted you to have fun when you came over to Dad's, and we this was very early, around the time of the divorce. We went on a Disney cruise, just you, me, and Jesse, and
it was so fun.
It's an amazing multi-generational. I only did it once, but multi-generational in that they had an ESPN zone on the ship. I saw grandparents down to toddlers. Jesse loved it because there was this Disney lab, which was basically Disney cartoons playing 24/7, with other kids. And I think there were games, and his eyes got like saucers going into that, and you went there as well. But there were, I think it was like the second night, and we were planning to go to dinner, and there was some activity, and I could tell that you were almost reticent to go because you didn't want to leave Dad alone. And I'm like, I'll be fine. I'll sit by the pool.
Dad's like, I'm going to go over to the bar.
Yeah, there's an ESPN zone that has cold football. Cold beer and football, not cold football. But you were worried about my feelings, and you thought I was going to be lonely, so you don't want to leave me alone. But you reluctantly went off with this play group. So I went over to pick you up, and you were having a blast. And you were like, Dad, can I just stay, a little bit longer? And I'm like, absolutely. But it was, I hope you had a blast. One afternoon, we were at Castaway Island, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Disney had their own island. I think that day you went on a treasure hunt, and Dad laid on the beach.
Yeah, it was a really fun cruise. And I do remember, like, the groups. Like, they have, and I don't know if this is still how they do it, but, like, different age groups, and, like, you could go and, like, drop me off. And I wasn't even with Jesse, I think, because I'm a little bit older, but I was
There were age group.
Yeah, age group oriented, but it was a super fun experience, and Dad's house was always fun, always.
But fond memories of the Disney cruise. Young adult, and quasi more recent was our trip to Italy. Franzi would always plan great trips.
Yes, amazing trips.
We got to go to Italy. We got to go to London. But the trip to Italy was special in that you were young adults, so we could do young adult things, and swimming was it the Mediterranean, or did we ever figure out what body of water that was?
Man, you're asking me geography questions.
Anyway, there's a video. There's a video. We should also link to the video because I'm doing an interview with my underwater GoPro camera, and I was doing shark noises or dolphin noises under the water. And then I started singing, singing the Jaws tune. We went and had a cooking class in Florence.
Yes.
We pivoted between Lucca and Barga, and I need Franzi in here to correct me. One was smaller than the other. I think we stayed up on the hill at a Renaissance. We'd go down the hill to the train to go from Lucca to Barga, or vice versa. But anyway, in the smaller town down the hill on a Saturday night, there was this little bar, but everybody in town came out to what essentially was like a median on the road, but they had a band that was doing like Beatles tunes or something. And that was the night that the older woman gave your brother Jesse a hickey. Do you remember that?
No. I blocked that out of my memory, apparently.
Well, I saw it at the pool the following day, and I'm like, what's that on your neck? And he's like, yeah, that lady on the dance floor last night. I'm like,
ew.
Yeah. Vomitorium.
Okay.
I think she thought he was a young Italian boy. That's probably why that happened.
I did want to chime in that, yes, we were swimming in Cinque Terre, and it is part of the Mediterranean Sea. So that is the ocean that
we went to Cinque Terre, but was that where we swam?
Yes.
Because it was a different. Okay. Yes,
it was.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Cinque Terre is gorgeous.
But
the cooking class that Franzi, if you ever go to any city in Europe, Franzi knows how to plan a trip. She's amazing.
She knows how to plan a trip anywhere.
True. It could be in the U.S. It could be to Fort Collins. She could tell you.
Yeah, the best of the best.
Plan a trip. But we went on a cooking class. We met this guy in the village, and we shopped for part of what was going to be the meal that day. And we didn't know where we were going, but it happened to be his home, which is his gorgeous home. And we were there for like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, yeah. We were cooking.
What did
I know we cooked a risotto.
A risotto.
It was,
yes.
I think it was like this mushroom creamy risotto, and then we also like cooked. We cooked a full 4-course meal.
The best part is there was no shortage of wine while we were cooking. There was a lot of wine consumed.
Between wine and Aperol Spritz on that trip,
But I also got reprimanded because racism doesn't have to be necessarily against the obvious races in our country here in the U.S. And Finch has finally entered the building.
Our production assistant.
He wants to come up on the sofa.
Hi.
But throughout that trip, I was doing...
Oh.
We stayed in Barga, and we took the train to Lucca.
Franzi
corrected me. So do you remember when we had the cab, we were going, maybe it was the day we were going to Lucca for the class.
For the cooking class.
For the cooking class. Cab shows up, and there were 5 of us, and the cab could only seat 4.
Oh, and he was not having it.
He was vehement that he could only seat 4, even though Franzi made a reservation for 5, although I think I may have screwed that up.
I don't think so, and it was also very early in the morning,
It was early in the morning. So we had to make a snap decision because we had to catch a train or we would miss this class.
Yes, because the train only left at one time at the day.
So I said, you guys go. Because Franzi knew where this class was. She had the tickets, and I wanted you 3 kids to go. Finch is listening very intently, saying, why didn't I get to go to
Italy?
Florence. So I say, you guys go. And with the idea of calling another cab, anyway, he takes you to the train station. He's coming back up the hill to pick me up. And I'm doing the math. I'm going to miss this train on when it departs. So I was very heavy into running at that time, seeking Boston, So I'm like, well, it's a tiny road. I'm just going to start running down the road, and that's going to save time. Well, that wound up meaning I made the trip and made the cooking class because he picks me up. He drops me off the train station. I literally run into the train, and the doors close.
It was like a movie.
But A, I was a team player. B, I was a good runner. And C, smart decision making while traveling.
I think
was the story. But that was a great memory as a young adult. We also... I'm sorry, it reminds you?
It's... Dad just caught himself. It's okay. That reminds me of also on that same trip, Franzi and I were traveling from, I think, Florence to Lucca, or wherever we were.
Barga to Lucca.
Yes. And Franzi and I were like,
both towns had very redeeming qualities.
We're going to go, shop around while the guys, or the boys, so aka Dad, Keenan, and Jesse, went back to the hotel to get our bags. And they're like, we'll just meet you at the train station. Open container laws are not a thing in Italy, and Franzi and I definitely had a few. I did just graduate from college. This was a part of my graduation present, which was very, very generous of my parents. But we are in this train station in Europe. Franzi and I are just having a blast. We would go into this bar, we get some chocolate, and then meanwhile, you guys are freaking out. You have all of our luggage, you're in the train station, you
Once
can't
again,
find us.
There's a train getting ready to depart. We were having a hard time communicating.
Because you didn't buy Franzi a phone plan in Europe, so she literally couldn't communicate with you.
Oh, because Dad was trying to save some euros.
Apparently. I don't know about that, but it was so funny because when you finally find us, you were like, where did you... Okay, production assistant is moving.
He's moving up to his favorite spot.
It was just so funny because you guys were pissed at us. But me and Franzi are just chilling.
Oh, yeah. You were wine relaxed.
Well, yeah, but it was
Italian wine relaxed.
It was a really special time. I had so much fun with Franzi. All throughout that trip, but also during that time, and then you guys were just really mad at us. But anyways, yeah, that was a wonderful trip.
Well, we've got a couple of segments to go here. There was also the trip we took you by yourself to New York City.
Yes, when I turned 16.
Because each kid got a trip, which was something my mom did with us kids, where at least one time took us on a trip by ourselves, which I wanted to do. And Keenan got to go to New York. Jesse got to go to Boston. You did New York, and have great pictures and great memories of Nikki in Manhattan.
I love Manhattan. Manhattan or nothing.
And that was your first time in New York, right?
It was.
Yeah.
It was super special.
Central Park, Washington Square.
Yeah, you took me to a jazz club.
Yeah, you actually, a couple places got adult beverages, did you not?
I think a few. And I wasn't really into drinking alcohol at that time. I mean, I think 17 or... It was for...
Yeah, I mean...
But regardless, I was like, oh my gosh.
I got served.
Wine?
I got served. Anyway,
Okay.
grand memories, obviously, of you throughout. And as a 30-year-old moving 3.5 blocks away, which you talked about the last 2 episodes, is just amazing because you're over here often to see Dad, and sometimes I'm asleep, and sometimes I'm falling asleep, or you give Finch a walk, but it's extra special to have that time with you.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same. We love it. The neighborhood's been great.
So, segue to next chapter 4.
Which is you.
Page 4.
Well, do you want to talk a little bit about page 4?
So page 4 is health update, and I'll keep it real short this week because last week was voluminous. Bottom line is we didn't do the Merck trial. Good news is my PSA dropped yet again after the Purple Delight filming episode. And PSA going down is a very good thing. And as Erin's amazing. She's a PA, although she seems every bit as knowledgeable as my primary oncologist, Dr. Eiley, both at CU Anschutz and UC Health. But on the low end, if they say I had 2 years to live, that was 1.5 years ago. If I can go an entire quarter with a low PSA, you want to bank as much of that as you can, and it's not common. Because I actually went off Zytiga, which was the hormone deprivation drug, which is that dinosaur's food that we talked about in the last episode. The idea being keep the testosterone down, and that's what the hormone deprivation drugs do. And it's counterintuitive, but the PSA actually went down. So I will see her again the end of August. I don't know when we'll release this episode. But I would, it's odd, but we would consider it good news. We don't know what the next, treatment is. We're in a bit of a hold pattern in that the only treatment I'm on right now are the quarterly shots, which is a little scary because it's almost like you got to wait for something bad to go wrong before you, I want to play offense and not defense. Pluvicto, which I've talked about as an option, that'll be certainly something we talk about in the next episode. So this is, as I said in Purple Delight, it's not remission. I will never go in remission. I will never be healed because it is stage 4 cancer. But for the time, we'll take that good news.
Yeah, I agree. It's finding light in darkness.
Yeah.
Good update. And yeah, anytime we have a health update for Dad/Ty, we're calling it the page 4 update. Kind of a play on stage 4, but just wanted to introduce that. So, are we ready for my surprise?
I've been told there's a surprise.
Well,
because I surprised you with movie quotes last week.
Yes, so you surprised me last week. Or, we keep saying last week. We did not film last week. Last episode, whatever.
We're kind of doing monthly drops.
But, yeah, we're on a monthly cadence right now, which I think is pretty
I'm a little
sufficient.
scared because she's pulled up a full page of something.
Well, you ran out of paper, so this
No,
is...
but I see what you printed out.
All right, so we are surprising Dad with slang terms across the internet. I did want to do that trend where I have to have water in my mouth and you have to say them and we joke about it, but we have all our technology and computers here, so
Well, you could face another direction, but
I didn't want to get water all over the house, but
that's just so. Is this kind of like ice spraying? This is more of a phrase, but this week when I was describing the current stage of my cancer and that, if you can get a good quarter of health, I said I'm playing with house money.
yes.
And you were like, what is that?
I had no idea what you were
It's a Vegas term, and once you have some winnings,
You're just playing
at
with
that
house money.
point, you were playing with their money. So my point was, hey, at this point, any life experiences I gain at this point, because I've had a very full life, I still want to live a lot longer and have more experiences. But there are days where I feel like I'm playing with house money. So that was what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm supposed to what?
So you're supposed to read the term, and then you're supposed to guess what it means.
Okay. Can I start?
Yeah, you can start.
All right. So the first one, is this a typo? It says ONG. Because I know
It's not a
I know what
typo.
OMG is, because OMG is oh my god.
Okay, so what do you think ONG means?
Oh no gosh. Oh no gosh.
Okay, kind of close, but it's like, on God. Like, I swear to God. On God.
On God?
Yeah, I think so. All right, next one.
Okay, next one. Hits different. Should I use it in a sentence? That coffee hits different.
Okay, so do you know what it means?
Hits different is good or is it bad?
You tell me.
I would say good.
Yeah, like lands differently than usual. So like, like that coffee hits different. Or
Like not what you expect?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was close.
You were close on that one.
I was close. Okay. 8. As in not the number 8. Or is that supposed to be ATE?
What does it say?
It's
I can't remember what-
capital ATE.
Yeah.
I ate something.
Any other guesses?
I'm so mad at you, I ate you.
No.
No?
8 is like she ate. Like complimentary, like
She not quite a 10, but she a 8?
kind of. Let me see what the actual definition is on this list that I found. But you're on the right track. Hold on. Of course, I put that one on there, and I don't even know the true definition.
I don't
She
know
did
why
something-
I'm like channeling a bad white rapper when I'm using these, but
She did something exceptionally well. Like, she performed brilliantly, impressed, or exceeded expectations. So it could be like, Dad, you ate that podcast episode.
okay. Never heard that one before. Next one is Yassify. I'm drawing a complete blank on this one. Finch, what do you...
Production assistant. What do you think?
Yassify. I don't know. You should yassify her.
Okay, cool. Kind of close. A dramatic makeover or to apply several beauty filters to a picture until the person is totally unrecognizable.
Oh, like when you put like those, what looks like 40 layers of makeup.
Yes.
And like cat ears.
Yassified.
Oh. I'm not
Yassified.
big on the heavy yassify.
I'm not either, to be honest.
Yeah. Cap.
Yes.
I'm gonna cap his ass.
I feel like that could be actually a different definition of the word, but like
Because
cap,
I thought that was like, I'm gonna shoot you, like with a gun.
maybe, but in this day and age, cap is like something fake or a lie. So like
Okay,
you're
so
capping.
nowhere close.
Nowhere close. Like, you're capping, that's a lie.
You were being nice. My gun thing was way off.
Or if you say like no cap, that means like I'm not lying, like for real.
Okay,
Like I love you, Dad. No cap.
For time purposes, we'll move on, but I will need you more examples of cap because I'm still not clear on that one. Cringe. I think I know this one. In that's cringy. Like
Yes.
you like. Ooh, that's
Ew.
like Franzi thinks guys who don't wear shirts at a football game and get on TV. That's cringe.
I would agree with Francie's opinion of that.
Okay.
Or to describe
do I-
embarrassing or awkward behavior. Like,
Okay.
that's cringe.
Okay.
Yep, you
Well, I
got
nailed that
right.
one. I've
You
got
that
one out
right.
of 7. Chugi. Am I pronouncing that right?
Chugi.
Chugi. That girl in that skirt looks chuggy.
Okay, give you some props for that, but like something that's out of date or a person who's trying too hard. But this also goes back to like
Well, it could be. Okay, well, I was close. I don't
close.
think I fully.
It's kind of
I was in the neighborhood.
you were in the neighborhood of that, but like it's definitely geared towards millennials and very specific trends and things that they like.
It would
It's
be
kind of hard to
they
explain.
wore something questionable.
Like chevron print is chuggy,
Okay, I didn't know that chevron print.
or
was-
like the color teal is chuggy.
oh,
Like
okay.
things that were popular when I was like in high school or college.
I'm glad I didn't wear my teal
so glad you didn't. It'd be so chuggy.
tracksuit. My teal tracksuit. That would be so chuggy. Next one is go off. That would be like somebody that like did really well in a performance. That guy went, you go off.
Yes, you got it. A phrase said to encourage someone to continue, usually when they're ranting about something. But like, like go off, Dad. Like keep going. Good job. It's a positive thing.
Okay, well, I've been close on a couple.
I would give you,
canon event. That I'm assuming that's like a camera. So that would be like something worthy of like an Instagram photograph. That's a canon event.
I'm like, actually, I don't even know what that one means. What is a canon event? Oh, an experience in a person's life that comes to shape or define who they are.
Okay, well, I wasn't
so like
even close.
Sydney Sweeney's ad with American Eagle, that's a canon event.
So it's a defining moment.
Correct.
Well, I would think her breakout performance in Euphoria would be more of a canon event.
If I think it maybe can go either way, like positive.
She can have more than one canon event.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Next one is Riz.
Yes. I think my cousins downstairs will probably know what that one means.
I'm drawing a complete blank on what Riz.
She's got Riz, I think.
She got Riz. Like words are not coming out of my mouth.
So it's actually like a shortened or condensed version of the word charisma. So someone who's charming or has game.
Oh,
like they got Riz.
She got Riz.
Yes.
Well, you definitely got Riz based on the emails.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
That we read earlier. Okay, 2 more to go.
Okay.
Sigma. I was part of the Alpha Sigma chapter of the Phi Tau at Colorado State University.
This one I actually don't really know very well, but a male who is popular but is also a loner who separates himself from the crowd. I don't understand how that makes sense.
So he's popular and a loner?
Yeah. Someone comment down below what that actually means.
You put ones in here that you don't even understand, so I don't know how I'm supposed to.
We're learning together.
Last one is yeet. I don't know how I'm supposed to know what these are. Yeet. I've never used this in a sentence before.
Yeet. Ever heard that?
We're having so much yeet.
It's actually this definition, a verb that means to throw something. Like yeet.
Oh, so when you're tossing a buddy a can of beer, yeet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, football season is upon
Football
us.
season is coming.
Because I tossed buddies beers a lot because I'm at so many parties and I drink so much beer, both of which are not true. I'm surprised you didn't put Thirst Trap on there.
Well, you know what that one is.
I didn't before you guys sprang it on me.
Oh, with the Aaron Gordon selfie.
Yes. Aaron, well, no, it wasn't a selfie. It was for his underwear ad.
Yeah, it was an underwear.
And Thirst Trap is a glowing term for someone who is sexually attractive.
A thirst trap is a social media post intended to be alluring, often with the goal of attracting attention and eliciting admiration, particularly romantic or sexualist.
Okay, so I think I understand that one.
Yes.
Just like the Sydney Sweeney ad is a bit of a thirst trap. And with racial nuances.
A canon event.
Racism nuances.
Yes.
But we don't have time to discuss and debate Sydney Sweeney.
No.
Although I think they knew exactly what they were doing with that one.
Well, I can't even get into that right now.
I think I got maybe 8 out of 10 of those.
Yeah. You mean 2 out of 10?
Yes, I meant 2 out of 10.
Hey, it was fun. I actually, some of those I don't not use, but there's a few. And they're on the internet quite a bit. So now you can be educated. And so can our listeners who have young children.
Got it. So we covered a lot. We covered therapy. We covered a little bit of the continued conversation of how to have a cancer conversation.
Yes.
We covered some great fan mail. So
yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And that's a sincere thank you. We covered Nikki's chapters through life. It also conjured up, which I didn't tell as a story, but I've got a photograph of you. I think it must have been a Halloween, and you were dressed up as like a hula girl.
I love that picture. I know what we're talking about because I love that
And you were
costume.
hanging on to my arm, and it just I don't think you were looking at me, but the way you were hanging on me just, I think it typifies our relationship.
Yeah, it's a great picture. I'll post it.
That would be great.
And if you haven't already, give us a follow on Butterfly Pavilion Pod on Instagram. We're also on YouTube. And we also are going to
be YouTube, we are actually... search on Butterfly Pavilion Podcast.
You'll find it. You'll
find it, and we will link it in our Spotify and Apple podcast links.
And we're starting a TikTok, so check us out there. And
we're gonna record a couple TikTok videos in the backyard, I think.
We are.
Stay tuned. Is that how I do it?
No.
Okay. There was an awkward dad dance moment.
We'll practice.
We do have some bonus coverage, but we're gonna wrap it up for today.
Yes. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
For now,
we need to sign off.
We need to sign off.
That's all.
We usually just do woohoo.
That's all, folks.
That's
the way the cookie crumbles.